No one knows exactly when the story began. Some say it started more than 100 years ago. Others swear the legend is much older, passed down through generations in the rural regions of Brazil. But everyone agrees on one thing: if you hear the Bradador calling your name at night, do not answer, because it may be much closer than you think. The legend began in small farming communities surrounded by dense forests, silent rivers, and dirt roads that vanished into darkness after sunset. The locals spoke of a mysterious creature that wandered through the wilderness during the dead of night. No one ever saw it clearly. No one knew exactly what it looked like, but everyone heard its voice, a scream, a call, a terrifying roar that echoed for miles. That is where its name came from, the Bradador. According to the oldest stories, the sound would first appear in the distance. It seemed far away, perhaps across the river, perhaps from the top of a hill, but something was wrong. The longer you listened, the harder it became to tell where the sound was coming from. One moment it seemed distant. The next, it felt as though it was standing right behind you. Farmers believed the Bradador hunted lonely travelers, especially those who walked alone after dark. One of the most famous tales tells of a man returning home. The moon was hidden behind thick clouds. The road was lit only by a small lantern. As he walked, he heard a scream, a long sound, deep, unnatural. He stopped, looked around, saw nothing. He assumed it was an animal, maybe a jaguar, maybe a wolf. Then he continued walking. A few minutes later, he heard it again, but this time the sound seemed much closer. A chill ran down his spine. Still, he kept moving. Then he heard something impossible. The creature called his name, his exact name, in a rough, distorted voice, as if something was trying to imitate a human without truly understanding how people speak. The man ran. He ran without looking back. When he finally reached home, he found his family waiting outside, terrified. They claimed they had heard someone screaming his name from the forest for nearly an hour, but he had arrived only minutes earlier. To this day, no one can explain what happened that night. Another version of the legend claims that the Bradador is not a creature at all, but an entity, a lost spirit, an ancient presence that inhabits isolated wilderness areas. People say it can imitate human voices. First, it sounds like someone familiar, then a friend, then a family member, and finally it calls to its victim. Its goal, according to the stories, is to lure people deeper into the forest, away from safety, away from light, into a place from which they may never return. There are reports of hunters who disappeared after following mysterious voices during the night. Some were found days later, confused, unable to remember what had happened. Others were never seen again. What makes the legend even stranger is that similar stories appear in completely different regions. The details rarely change. There is always the scream, always the call, and always the overwhelming feeling of being watched. Older generations taught simple rules to protect yourself. Never travel alone at night, never answer voices coming from the forest, and most importantly, never follow a call that seems to come from several directions at once, because that is said to be the clearest sign that the Bradador is nearby. Some believe it has a physical form. Descriptions vary. Some say it is unnaturally tall and thin. Others describe a massive shadow with glowing eyes hidden among the trees. But nearly every account shares one detail. Anyone who tries to look directly at the Bradador experiences an overwhelming terror, a fear so intense it freezes the body, as though the forest itself is warning them to leave. In certain regions, people claim the Bradador appears most often during storms. Its cries blend with the wind, with thunder, with the sound of trees bending in the darkness, making it impossible to determine where it is. And perhaps that is what makes the legend so frightening. You never know where it is. You never know whether it is approaching, or if it is already standing beside you. Even today, people living in remote rural areas continue to report strange sounds during the early hours of the morning. Some believe they are simply animals. Others refuse to take the risk. They lock their doors, turn off the lights, and wait for sunrise. Because according to tradition, the Bradador disappears with the first rays of daylight. But until then, the darkness belongs to him. Perhaps the most disturbing part of this story is that no one has ever proven the Bradador exists, yet no one has fully explained the countless reports. Hundreds of stories spanning generations, different people, different places, different times, all describing the same presence, the same scream, the same fear. So if you ever find yourself alone on a dirt road in the middle of the night, and you hear a voice calling your name from somewhere in the darkness, do not answer, do not search for it, do not follow the sound. Keep walking, keep your eyes forward, because according to the old Brazilian legend, the worst thing you can do is let the Bradador know you heard him, and once that happens, it may already be too late.